Welcome to Ask the Funeral Director with Mike Voyajakis. Brought to you by Voyage Funeral Home and Crematorium. Now, here's your host, Brad Wilder. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Ask the Funeral Director with Mike Voyajakis. I'm your host, Brad Wilder. Great to be here and back with you for another Wednesday night edition. We've got a great show all lined up, and we're all set. We've got quite a few things to discuss tonight. Obviously, there's been a lot happening politics-wise. We may touch on a little bit of politics, but the real politics tonight is going to come from, well, within Winnipeg and Manitoba itself. There's been a lot that's happened over the past many years that Justin Trudeau and a Liberal NDP government has been in power. We're going to break things down tonight in a way that we're talking about the event that's coming up Friday night at the Cork and Flame. If you don't know about it, you're going to find out. Please stay right there. Stay with us. We'll be back with more here on Ask the Funeral Director right after this. At the Cork and Flame, we're always cooking and ready with the finest for all our customers any time of day or night. From breakfast brunch to lunch and dinner, steak and seafood to ribs and more. The Cork and Flame Fine Dining. Always fresh, with fabulous desserts and a narration of the urban landscape, plus a passion for quality food. Eat, drink, chill. Cork and Flame, 3106 Portage Avenue. There's no hurry, so sit back and relax. Welcome back to Ask the Funeral Director tonight on this Wednesday, January the 22nd. Happy birthday to me.
Is it your birthday today?
It was.
It was your birthday today?
It was, yes.
I didn't even know that.
That's okay.
I didn't even wish you happy birthday.
I don't tell anybody anything.
Now I feel like a schmuck.
No, you're not a schmuck. I don't like to.
Well, let me do something for you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Brad.
Don't do that.
Happy birthday to you.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
I'm not going to ask your age.
No, I'm too old.
But wow, didn't even know. And I could have took you out for your, for supper or lunch or something at the Cork and Flame.
I'll be there on Friday.
You snooze, you lose, buddy.
I'm going to be
your
there on Friday.
Birthday's not on Friday.
My birthday's not on Friday. Yeah, you're done now.
You're done. Guess what?
What?
We have a new first place person on the show, Kathy. Tickle, tickle, tickle.
Yeah, she made it
How
on
can
first.
you not? I'm sure throughout her whole life people did that, like tickle, tickle, tickle.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, hi, Kathy. Welcome
It's
to the show.
probably Tical.
Tical. Hey, Tical. And Gord, of course, is usually number one. And Steve Bage is usually in. These guys are like
that's
tiebreakers.
Right. They're usually racing each other to get on, but Kathy did it today. Janet Larson's here. Hi, Janet. Hi, Al Bueller.
Al Bueller. Al Bueller says he's looking for some work. He's a good carpenter. If anybody needs some work done, call Al Bueller.
There you go.
There's a free plug for you, Mr. Bueller. Debbie McKenzie, good evening from
Tabor, Alberta.
Tabor,
That's right.
Alberta.
Tabor.
You always say that, so I thought I'd let you say it.
Yeah.
And then we got Randolph.
I used to live there.
Good evening, Mike and Brad. You did?
I did.
Angela, our Italian friend. Hi, Mike and Brad, watching from freezing Toronto. It can't be as cold as Winnipeg is today. It is crazy cold here.
Yeah, it got really cold this past week, and then I thought it was supposed to warm up, though, just in time for the weekend ahead.
It's supposed to. Fernie, good evening. Mike, Brad, watching from Washington State. Hey, Kevin from Mexico. Wow.
Hey, Kevin, good to hear from you.
I wonder if he's selling any of his Nano Silver
products. Puerto Vallarta?
I always call it Porta Viagra.
Porta Viagra, yeah. Take the blue pill. Take the blue pill.
Hey, Kevin. Hey.
Hopefully you're having fun tonight, Kevin, and every night.
I wonder if he's selling any of his Nano products while he's out there.
Oh, I'm sure he is. I've seen a few people that look like they needed some of that to cure their hangovers.
You know, I got that product from Kevin.
Yeah.
NanoSilver.com.
You put it on your knee, right?
I put it on my knee, and my knee hasn't been sore since. So obviously the stuff works.
Well, that's fantastic.
Susan Alec. Hi, Mike Brad from Susan and Wayne Alec and everyone else.
Oh, Susan.
And I got to say this because it's Dan Ross from Ross, Manitoba. Oh, he changed it. Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah, no. He didn't put Ross, Manitoba on there.
No, he never does. You just say it.
A lot of new people on the show tonight.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the birthday wishes, everybody. I appreciate that.
Kevin everyone's wishing him a happy birthday.
Yeah.
I made him look younger in the promo task, the funeral director today.
Yeah, sure.
Dyed his hair.
I've never had brown hair
Made
before.
myself look a little thinner,
You took off about, yeah. You were thinner.
So it's a big week this week, and we're going to talk about it. But before we do that, we're going to continue on crime in Manitoba. It's a serious problem. The catch and release system is a serious problem, and we're going to talk about it today. But before we do that, we have a few videos that we want to play for you, and we're going to get into our first video now, just showing you how bad crime is. It doesn't take much to find what you want to find on the internet when it comes crimes, murders, violence, vandalism, and all that kind of stuff.
Here in Manitoba, right?
Right here in Manitoba,
Yeah.
which seems to be one of the worst places. Please like, share, and follow this show. It's an important show, as Friday is going to be an important day for a lot of people in the city when we're finally going to fight back.
Mary Lou, he did not do my makeup tonight. I don't have any makeup on, thanks. I just came from an indoor hockey rink, though, and I might look a little bit colorful.
Usually I do his makeup,
It
but
was cold in there
today
tonight.
he took a shower. He was fresh.
I got to say, though, the boys won
Nice and
tonight
clean.
5-3, so I was happy about that.
Brad's a hockey coach, and he left his team to make sure he gets on the show on time. Russell Peters, welcome to the show from Winkler. Debbie Cron is from Oakbank, Manitoba. Wow, a lot of people from everywhere tonight.
What's up with all this cash in the video?
I know. Let's play this video and we'll talk about it afterwards, but that's a lot of cash. Are you ready?
Millions of dollars in cash, drugs, guns, Louis Vuitton suitcases, Rolex watches, and high-end jewelry. This is some of what was seized by the Winnipeg Police Services Organized Crime Unit. Inspector Elton Hall says these came to the city by planes, trains, buses, and specially modified cars.
$1.7 million in Canadian currency, approximately 30 kilograms of cocaine. To date, 4 handguns were seized, 1 submachine gun with a suppressor was seized, a Rolls-Royce valued at $450,000 was also seized, 12 vehicles that include 4 Mercedes-Benz, 2 BMWs, and 1 Lexus SUV was seized.
Hall says the investigation started in March of 2022 when more than $500,000 in cash was discovered at the Winnipeg airport. The investigation, known as Project Soft Landing, involved police from BC and Ontario too.
The Winnipeg Police Service Organized Crime Unit and the Winnipeg Police Service Crime Analysis Unit identified a high-level interprovincial drug trafficking network responsible for the importation of controlled substances into Winnipeg from the Greater Toronto Area.
Halton says the investigation further led to 22 search warrants carried out on March 6, 2024 across Canada. In Winnipeg, those included properties in downtown St. James and Sage Creek. Manitoba Justice Minister said the province provided $230,000 to support the investigation. Hall says organized crime has expanded in Canada over the last few years, and so has the nature of gangs here in Winnipeg.
Organized crime provides the drugs, the money, and the handguns, and results in the violence you see on the street right now. That's how organized crime makes their money.
Hall says the influx of gangs and drugs into Winnipeg has increased human and sex trafficking too. He wouldn't give details on that part of the investigation. But Janet Campbell from the Joy Smith Foundation says human trafficking is prevalent.
We do see the use of drugs throughout, from luring and grooming to control and manipulation of victims of sex trafficking.
Winnipeg police say more charges could be coming. So far, 14 people, including 9 from Winnipeg, have been charged. Zubina Ahmed, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Well, there you go, Mike. That's quite the story.
This is what I'm talking about. So the guns that you saw, the weapons that you saw, are on our Winnipeg streets. And if you don't think that's dangerous, and if you think that doesn't make Winnipeg a dangerous city, think again. It's right here. You can see it. The police are all doing their job, spent a whole whack of money to catch these criminals in action, and then the court system does the catch and release. And they're back on the streets, again, committing violent crimes over and over again. So this is why this Friday we need to come together, stand together, and make a difference. When we unite and we use our voices, the power of our voices can create change. And that's what this event is all about, is getting together and listening to some speakers, listening to some music, and making change. And uniting is when, and finally agreeing on one thing. The crime in Winnipeg is out of control, and we need to fight back. The justice system, the rotating doors at the court system, is completely out of control. So please join us this Friday. We're going to talk a lot about that tonight. But organized crime gangs in Winnipeg and violence. And I talked about this before, and I want to say this again. People like my parents, Brad's parents, your parents, who came to Manitoba, to Canada, to make their lives a little bit better, to come where the land of opportunity exists, right here. Canada was a safe place. Now our parents can't walk in the streets at night because they're scared. And that's sad when we have the elderly population afraid to walk on the streets after working so hard to build these cities and to build Canada and Manitoba, to make it stronger for us and our families. And now our children face the same, not being able to be on the streets because of child abductions, rapes, murders, violence. The list goes on and on. We need to come together this Friday where finally somebody stepped up to make a difference. Let our voices be heard, unite. What I suggest you do is come to the restaurant early. Support the Cork and Flame. It's been a year since my brother's death, and have something to eat, and then join us outside where we're going to have some really good speakers, and it is going to be a good night, and it is going to be productive. So please join us for that. I want to bring us into this next video, because this next video is heartbreaking for me. So as Brad, coached hockey for a lot of years, so did I. And unfortunately, the gentleman involved in this motor vehicle accident is one that I coached. And as a coach, you try to leave a good impact on the children that you're coaching. And you tell them, if you swear at the referee, you're going to swear at your boss. If you tell off your coach, you're going to tell off your parents. If you disrespect your fellow players on the ice, you're going to disrespect other people in this world. And you try to teach them how to be in the real world. And hockey is a stepping stone for that. And a coach can really make a difference in people's lives. Brad's coached for a lot of years, and so have I. And we've tried to make a difference in every child's life that we have on the ice. We try to educate them. We try to teach them to have fun. We try to teach them to be fair, to be honest, to play hard. And that's what coaches do. Coaches are a big part of your child's upbringing. And what a coach says to his players is really important. And it's something that they live with the rest of their lives, because it's a stepping ground. Coaching in hockey and sports and music and all that stuff is a stepping ground to bigger and better things. So the harder they work in sports, the harder they work when they get out of sports and in the workplace. It's all about what we teach our kids and how we put good things in their minds, and we teach them to be good people, and we teach them to love others and to respect others. So one of the kids that I coached, and I remember talking to him many times, and good kid, but sometimes good kids take a bad turn in life. And this is a good example of that.
All right.
We're going to play this video, and this is, a lot of people might have heard about this. This is an accident that took place in Portage La Prairie. And I even spoke with the mayor briefly of Portage about this incident.
Devastating and infuriating. How some are describing the highway crash that took the life of 28-year-old Kelly Verway near Portage La Prairie last Wednesday. She worked as the city's tourism coordinator, and Mayor Sherilyn Knox described her as a pillar of the community.
Shock, complete shock. The ripple waves of grief and frustration and anger just carry through.
24-year-old James Hilton has been charged with dangerous driving causing death, driving while impaired, and failing to stop at the scene of the accident. Police confirming he was wanted on an arrest warrant issued the week prior. Court records show Hilton pled guilty to a possession charge last year, and afterwards was charged with trespassing, possessing break-and-enter instruments, and multiple counts of failing to comply with a release order. Knox says this shows a need for firmer action for repeat offenders, which she says should include mandatory treatment.
Right now, the way our system works in Manitoba is that people are to have, when they're charged, that they are to have access to treatment or access to mental health support. And access is great, but sometimes people need that little extra when they need to be held accountable.
Knox penned an open letter to Justice Minister Matt Wiebe calling for action in response to Kelly's death. Weeb says they're committed to working together and expanding measures like the ankle monitoring program.
We started it here in the city of Winnipeg. We know that almost 50 people now have these ankle monitors out in community, and we've expanded it outside of the city of Winnipeg. So this is now going province-wide, and communities like Portage la Prairie, we know, have been asking for this.
But Weeb and other advocates say change needs to happen at the federal level too. Bobby Baker from the National Police Federation wants to see the law change.
The perpetrator, the suspect, will usually be granted bail unless there's a significant likelihood that they're going to reoffend, and that level is problematic, and we've seen that time and again in society.
Saying denying bail for repeat offenders is the only way to keep them from causing more harm. Catherine Dornian, Global News.
Well, there you go. That's another.
And that's exactly what I've been talking about. You know, for a year, and before my brother's death even, I've been fighting for justice. And,
Right.
and you know, through the funeral home, we do a lot of deaths, and we deal with a lot of people who've lost their lives through violence. The failing justice system and the catch and release system is killing your family members. And this is a perfect example. A person who was released on bail and committed another crime, and unfortunately, he didn't stay on the scene. And that makes it devastating for a family. To lose a loved one, on top of it all, for somebody to leave the scene of an accident. I know sometimes people get afraid and they want to get away and they need time to think about what they did, but it's the wrong thing to do. You need to stay on the scene of an accident and be accountable for what you did. And the court systems need to be accountable to us. And I say this, it's victims versus criminals. And who do we put first, the victims or the criminals? The victims need to go to jail. If we don't have enough jails, we need to build more remand centers. We need to build facilities to hold these people in until they're found accountable for what they did and face a trial instead of this catch and release. Well, we'll just put an ankle bracelet on them and release them. Well, that's not going to do anything. That's not solving any problems. An ankle bracelet's not going to solve a criminal from reoffending.
And I've heard that a conservative government would make that happen compared to a liberal NDP government, which is what we've had for the last 9 years.
Brad, what we need is accountability. For every, you know, Bretta, if you ever watch Bretta when it gives away our age, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. And it's simple as that. If you can't do the crime, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. And unfortunately, it's gone backwards this time. You know, people know there's no consequences. They know that if they get caught breaking into a house and they're underage, they're going to be released the very next day, if not the same day, before the police even finish the reports. Something I want to do and make public right now. To the Winnipeg Police, we ask you to come to our event. We want you to be present at our event. We're doing this to help you. We know the police system needs to change. We know there needs to be systems and procedures in place to make the police system better. We know that you go out on the streets every day of your lives and you don't know if you're going to go back home. We know that you have a tough job to do. And as much as some people say, well, I hate the police. When you're in trouble, when somebody's hurt in your house, when you get robbed, who do you call? You call 911. And a police officer is supposed to show up at your house. When somebody's hurt, an ambulance is supposed to show up to take care of your loved one and try and save their life. What we need is the system that's broken to be fixed. We need to fix the police system. And during tomorrow or Friday's speech, I'm gonna give you some insight on how I think it could be done. There's a whole bunch of things we need to do to change what's happening in this world. And if we don't do it, we're going to keep on dealing with these deaths. We need to demand change. And we could demand change together. And we could do that with our voices being loud and clear on Friday. Thousands of people in the parking lot of the Cork and Flame. You could be assured the media will be there and it will be loud and clear that the people have had enough. And I've said it over and over again, enough is enough. We're going to go into this next video, which is a video that took place last year when my brother was murdered. And I just want to show you a little bit of what happened last year in the parking lot of the Cork and Flame. And a lot of that's going to happen this year, except we're turning it up a little bit, celebrating my brother's life, a person that meant so much to the community, a pillar of strength in that community, who fed people, who loved people, who made a difference in St. James and tried to make it a better place to live in. And unfortunately, he's gone. But this next video will show you a little bit of what went on last year. And this year will be much the same. We're going to have candles that we hand out to every person that comes there. At one point, we're going to light the candles. We're going to have an ex-police officer Shelley, who's going to be making a presentation. She won't be there in person, but she's going to give us her intake on the Winnipeg police system and changes that need to be made. People are still saying happy birthday to Brad.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said anything.
Oh, jeez. So we're going to play this next video, and then we're going to get on with some interesting questions.
He loved people. When you walked into the Cork and Flame, you walked into his home, and he welcomed you.
Following the tragic passing of Winnipeg restaurant owner Kyriakos Voyajakis, hundreds of local residents joined family and friends outside the Cork and Flame Sunday evening to pay tribute to the life and the legacy of the beloved family man.
Say goodnight, not goodbye.
Candles illuminated the parking lot of the Cork and Flame as community members joined in prayer and song to remember the life of Kyriakos. Following a physical altercation outside his business on Wednesday, the 51-year-old was rushed to hospital in critical condition, where he later succumbed to his injuries.
My brother deserved to live and have life and to live out his dreams. But instead, we're mourning the loss of an amazing young man who would have did so much for this city.
Police have since arrested 38-year-old Curtis Ross Delbosiak, charging him with manslaughter and uttering threats. But with Delbosiak's previous criminal history, Kyriakos' older brother Mike questions whether the justice system is doing enough to ensure tragedies like this don't happen again.
My mom is going to have to bury her younger child in a couple of days. And it's sad that a mother has to be at a graveside burying her kid. Why? Because the justice system failed us. And they continue to fail us. And people are dying every day of the week, and it's time for change. It's time to say enough is enough.
Voyajakis would go on to urge those in attendance to go home and hug their loved ones, as you never know what life may bring.
We never thought that it would be Kyriakos. Just like you may never think it's your family member. But surprise, surprise, it was. We'll never see Kyriakos again, but he'll be in our hearts, and his legacy will live on through you.
Kyriakos' funeral service will be held at the Greek Orthodox Church on Grant Avenue on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Prayers will also be held there on Tuesday at 7 p.m. In Winnipeg, Kurt Black, City News.
Ahead on.
Watch this.
Well, that'll still continue to really make an individual upset and angry, and my frustration is like full on. And boy,
that was a tough video to watch.
Sometimes there's no words to say. I know, and you're I see what's going on with you, and I'm trying to do the talking right now, so you can just kind of get yourself back into a good place.
You know what? It's determination. I'm determined to make change for the people of Winnipeg. For my brother, for the loss that should have never happened, for the loss that should never happen to your family member. I'm telling you, we need to unite and stand together. Do this for your family members. Do this for victims of crimes in the past. There's many people that have lost loved ones. Unfortunately, they don't have a voice, and nobody hears about it. It's swept under the carpet. My voice is loud and clear. I will be your voice. I will stand up for you and your families. And I don't want to do another funeral for a person who's a victim of a crime. We should all grow old and die of natural causes, not this kind of garbage that's going on in our city. Our children should be able to play on the streets. They should be able to go to school. They should be able to have fun and enjoy their childhoods and not live in fear. And unfortunately, in Winnipeg, we are living in fear. We need to support and protect the vulnerable in the city. And it's the vulnerable that are being attacked because we're allowing it to happen. I hear so many people say, I want change. I want the crime to stop in the city. I want the violence to stop in the city. But nobody does anything about it. It's a conversation in a coffee shop. It's a conversation between people. And then it's another day. Well, now you have a chance to make a difference. Now you have a chance to stand up and be strong and fight for each other.
Yep.
This isn't about who's better. This isn't about who's more popular. This isn't about who's putting this event on. It's about you, the people of Winnipeg, and you matter. And that's why I'm standing here with my heart, with as much pain as there is in my heart, in my family's heart, and to see my mom struggle through this as the years coming up, and my brothers who are hurting deeply. Together as a family, we've united, and we are going to make a difference. And trust me, I will make a difference in your lives, and I will make change if it's the last thing that I do. We need to empower communities. Empowering communities means giving power back to the communities, to hold their communities and be strong and proud, to not be afraid to walk out, to not be afraid of their kids playing in the streets, and know that if you commit a crime, there's consequences. And those consequences mean you're not going to be back out on the street. Those consequences mean that you're going to be behind bars. We need stricter laws. We need to make change. We need to do this, and we need to do it now. We need to uphold justice. Justice is not being upheld. The justice system let our family down. If this guy was not a catch and release person, back in the street, in and out of jails, released again, only to take my brother's life. We need to restore trust in the public again. The public needs to restore trust in the government because we've lost trust in you. We've lost faith in the government. We voted you in so you could take care of our families. We voted you in so you can make change in our lives, better change. We didn't vote you in to watch our province and our country fall apart as it is. Trudeau's been a catastrophe to Canada. The laws that he's put in place are just disturbing and disgusting. You can't even share a news story because you can't share news in Canada. But we sit there and we allow this to happen, and we do nothing about it. Again, this Friday, we have a chance to do something about it.
Yes,
this Friday, you have a chance to get out of your chair, leave your house, go outside, join us in the parking lot with thousands of others, and our voices will be heard. And that's how we make change, by coming together. Together we can make a difference. You, myself, Brad, everyone in one area. Holding hands, loving each other, caring for each other, but most of all, being there for one another.
Do you know what's happened when other groups and organizations have gotten together just in the past year? Let's talk about what happened with the Winnipeg metropolitan region and when that group of individuals showed up in Niverville and at Polo Park, for example, the first meeting when we were there. Then Niverville took off and 1,000 people showed up there. Look what happened just the other day in Erickson, Manitoba, when they went up and challenged the Manitoba Wildlife Federation on what's going on there. They're trying to create those corridors, take away some of the farming and the community of lands, and not only that, but the recreational lands. All of this is happening right now. It's being disguised with so many different things and words and play on words that, you know, it really goes to show you that that group that was in Erickson actually shut it down the other day. It's just like happened in Niverville with the Winnipeg metropolitan region.
Exactly.
They shut it down.
What's happening in our lives is an illusion.
Yeah.
It's an illusion.
And we just have to stand up to it.
And you know what? I remember speaking at Polo Park.
Yeah, Polo Park.
Canadians
at Polo Park. That's right.
And that voice was a powerful voice. And it led to that video being shared thousands of times and waking people up to realize.
I got one for you. I'm going to throw my pen at you.
And then somebody who's a leader in the city, or supposed to be a leader, threw their pen across the floor when they didn't like what I was saying.
That's right.
See, we have voices and we need to use them because each one of us can make a difference.
Yep.
Each one of us can make a difference by standing there, even if you don't have the courage to stand on stage or make a video.
You know, you don't have to do the talking. We're going to do the talking for you. You just have to be there.
Just show up.
Get our back. Just get our back. That's what we're looking for. We'll do all the hard work.
And you know, again,
just be there for our back.
I'm going to say this, and it's going to be loud and clear. Trump, in his first few days of power, has done some pretty amazing things.
Change the world.
That's going to change the world, and there's also going to be change in Canada because Trudeau is going to be on his way out. Yes, we need to put up with him a little while more, but I'm sure there's a game behind that gimmick also that's going to get him out a little sooner.
Yeah, that's right.
But together we need to stand up just like they did in the States. You know, Trump was was basically nailed to the cross.
Oh, yeah.
Like he didn't have a chance to do anything. They were prosecuting him left, right, and center, but he stood strong as a leader. Is Trump perfect? No, he's not perfect.
No.
But Trump is the president of the United States, and he cares about the USA.
He ain't going to be sleeping on the job.
And that's wide and clear. The guy cares about his citizens. He cares about the United States of America. And we need somebody to care about Canada, to love Canada, to love the people of Canada, to make positive change for the people of Canada. Canada is one of the most beautiful, most powerful countries in the world. And if we unite...
It can be.
It
hasn't been
right
in it for the last 9 years.
And I like
but
some things,
can be.
you might not like that I'm going to say this, but I like that Trump... One of the things that I like that Trump said is, in the United States of America, there's only two sexes, male and female.
Yep.
And that's accurate.
True story.
You know, why are we
That's
screwing
science.
up? It's yeah, if you want to talk about follow science. And let's talk about other things. We talk about COVID all the time and how wrong COVID was. And people are finally starting to realize, even with me, how did you know, Mike? How did you know? You talked about this a long time ago.
How did you know Dr. Fauci was lying?
How did you know Dr. Fauci was lying? Well, you know that Dr. Fauci was given a pardon by Biden. Why was he given a pardon? Because Fauci lied to the people of America, to the people of Canada, and he murdered millions of people and continues to murder millions of people.
Yep.
That says it all right there. And we pardon a guy like that? Why? Because he's got something to hide. When you pardon somebody, they have something to hide. And he has something to hide because he destroyed lives. He destroyed families, businesses. He destroyed. And even today, where COVID, sorry, Brad, to cut you off.
Okay.
COVID has caused, I'm on fire tonight. COVID has caused so much damage to this world, mental illness, completely out of control, and part of our problem with our justice system and our crime system. Because our courts are so overpacked with cases that they can't even keep up with them. So is that our problem? No, hire more judges. Do what you got to do. You're the court system that we count on. So do what you got to do to get these cases through. And in some cases, people are just, their cases are getting thrown out of court. Why? Because it took too long to get in front of a judge. Do you know the person that murdered my brother has still not been in front of a judge?
No.
It's been a year. And he's not to be in front of a judge for until March is going to make his first appearance. To me, there's a terrible system there. Our justice system is failing us again and again and again. And I wouldn't doubt it if he's going to be eligible for parole or part of this catch and release thing again in the near future. It's disturbing, and I hate it. And again,
we keep talking about Fauci, but the reality here is that Canada's got its own problems in a big way. And somehow we've got to take care of our own situation, Mike.
We need a leader. We need a leader that matters. We need a leader that really cares. A leader that's not corrupt. What's with all this corruption? Why is it always about money? Let me tell you something, folks. You can't take money with you. Doesn't matter how much of it you have. Do good to others. Do good to your fellow citizens. People work so hard. They go to work, they bust their butts, and they have to go to another job because they can't afford to feed their families. I got a message today on Facebook for a person that, an older person, where him and his wife are struggling and they just don't have money to eat. They just don't. They can't afford to pay their rent. It's terrible. And the family reached out and said, hey, can you help this family? Will we help this family? Yes. But you need to help families too. You need to help those people struggling so we can make a difference. That poster that's on your page right now on that you can see, you need to share this 1 million times over. You need to, that's right, Debbie, you need to talk to people. You need to invite people out to this event. Ask your neighbor to come out. Somebody who doesn't have a ride, bring them with you. The more people we have, the better it is, and the more change we will push to have. It seems like our leaders just don't give a crap. For a person that went through such a tragic event, people say, oh, did the mayor of Winnipeg ever reach out to you? No. Scott Gillingham has never reached out to me. Scott Gillingham has never reached out to our family, but he's reached out to other families and offered his condolences. Has our premier reached out to us? Absolutely not. People that want change should be asking for change right now. People like CJOB, for example, that keeps pushing the crime and the murders in the city. Have they reached out to me? No. So this is the game. The game is being played right now. The real people will come to the game, and the real people will help us win this game and make a difference. But those people that are sitting on the sidelines, they don't care. They're hypocrites. They say one thing and do another. And I'm pissed off, and I hate it, and I'm going to stand for change until the end of my days. You want to say something, Brad? Because I'm...
I just let you go, man. At this point, there's no need to interrupt. There's still about 10 or 12 questions we got to get to tonight from Ask the Funeral Director.
You know what's Debbie says they're too busy checking a landfill. For what?
Well, there's that problem. Yes.
You know what I would have did?
What
I would have did is I would have built a building, a community club, and I would have named it after those people that are missing, and I would have had purpose. That would have had purpose because they could have held events there. They could have their vigils there. They can do their thing there in memory of their loved ones.
They still can. They just have to rent a hall and get it done.
I'm just saying.
There's things.
If you name it after somebody instead of digging through landfills, I understand if you lose a loved one, you want their body back. I understand that, but there's some circumstances that make it beyond control, and the premier is going to do what the premier does. But I would like to see. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. I'd like to invite our premier out to this event and see if he comes. And we actually would allow you to get on the microphone and talk and tell the people of Manitoba how you're going to make change. You're the new NDP premier of Manitoba. And you seem to be a caring, loving kind of a guy. So you're welcome to come out. You're welcome to speak to the people of Manitoba and tell them how you're going to fight crime, how you're going to help fix the justice system. It's your job. You're the premier of Manitoba. Scott Gillingham, I would invite him out, but that would be a waste of time because he's just not going to show up.
Probably not.
And I invite the police. We'd like to see the presence of the police at this event. We know, like you said, you do a great job. You're out there fighting. We know that sometimes you don't even know if you're going to go home. I mean, it would be hard to be a police officer. Not all police officers are good guys, but most of them are. Most police officers are there to protect and to help you and to be there for you. And unfortunately, some of them are working under a broken system, and they just can't do. Can you imagine how frustrating it would be to arrest somebody who just broke into a house and assaulted an elderly person, and you just finish your paperwork, and then you hear that person's out on the street already. The person's out on the street already. Can you imagine how frustrating it would be as a police officer to be a part of this catch and release program, to have your hands tied and not be able to do your job, to be called pigs, to be called all kinds of names. Why? Because you're out there to serve and protect. Like I said, not all police officers are honest, not all police officers are fair, but most police officers are there for the right reason. So we invite you out to this. We have your back. We want to see change in the city, and we want to see the police force change where you could do your jobs. And there could be accountability when you make an arrest. And those people will serve time for the crime that they committed.
Hey, did you know something?
Infuriating.
I got you something today.
Did you? What'd you get me now?
I bought you something. I got you something.
I'm supposed to buy you something. It's your birthday.
No. It's me doing something for you. I figured this kind of goes along with the times we're in. And it seems to be ramping up. So I thought I'd buy you some eggs.
Well, I hear these eggs are really expensive.
Eggs can be expensive. That's
like
correct.
You can't even buy eggs these days. They're like this is like gold.
Well, between the salmonella that they're talking about that's in the eggs supposedly, or how about the bird flu that they're talking about?
Yeah, we got we got salmonella in here. We got the bird flu in here. We got COVID in here. So soon these eggs will not even be available at the stores because they're putting more fear into you. Yeah. They're trying to bring back another virus. Brad, your mic's off.
Sorry about that. Oops, there you go.
Turn your mic on, Brad.
My bad.
And Kathy Tickle.
I bought you some. I bought him some eggs. So there you go. I got you some eggs. You're gonna take.
We're talking about all the
bird flu and salmonella,
all this
and
stuff.
No eggs in the stores and all that sort of thing.
Go get your eggs from your local farmers or your how do I colonies.
Yeah, that's a great place too. Right?
They have lots of them, and yeah. Thanks for the gift. I'm going to
Oh,
eat these
you're
eggs.
I hope so.
And they're like gold, so I'm going to enjoy
You let me
every
know.
one of them.
You let me know if you need a shot after. If you start clucking like a chicken, I know you got bird flu.
You know what's funny? People get right on you on here if
What
you
are the
make a mistake.
Yeah, they do. What are the symptoms of bird flu? That?
Well, I mean, it's the flu, man. Like you
I thought you start flapping your wings like a chicken. Start dancing like Mick Jagger, you know?
support your local farmers, support your local colonies that that are 100% honest with you, and they give you what you deserve. And Brad, I think your mic's still off.
No,
what
it's
you're
because
saying.
it's not off. It's not off. It's all good. It's back to normal now. These messages are just coming in late, and you're so damn loud tonight.
Lulu. I'm on fire tonight. You know what? I'm going to talk about some of the speakers.
Wait till Friday night. I'm going to assume that's going to be on fire.
Bird flu is for the birds. I don't know if you ever heard of Joey Gregorish.
I have.
Joey Gregorish was kind of an icon back in his day. He sang a song together that was one of the most popular wedding songs that ever came out.
It was, yeah. At the time.
Together.
I don't remember that one.
But anyways, you cluck like a chicken.
Yes, you do.
Anyways, Joey Gregorish is going to be performing on Friday night too, along with some other people.
Van Halen.
And then we have so you want to talk about Wally?
Wally Dodrich. That's
Wally
right.
Dodrich will be there. He's going to be one of the speakers.
He's
Kevin.
He's one of the running leader, or one of the leaders one of the guys trying to run for the leadership of the Progressive Conservative Party here in Manitoba.
Yeah, so
he'll be going up against Abhi Khan.
And you know what? I asked Abhi Khan to
show up.
to come. But Wally's going to be there. We have a couple of surprise speakers, but we also have Kevin Klein. So Kevin Klein is going to be a powerful speaker. Why?
Who's that?
He was a counselor.
What does Kevin Klein do?
He was Kevin was a counselor for the city of Winnipeg for a lot of years.
Right.
And now he runs the Winnipeg Sun.
That's right.
And Kevin Klein is attacking City Hall like they've never been attacked before. Also, Wabkanu.
Well,
and he has just reason to do so.
What made you use the word attacking? Because in my opinion, he's just exposing the truth of what's going on within
You're right.
City Hall.
Exposing is a better word than attacking.
Yeah, he's
attacking sounds like I'm going to come after you with these eggs.
He's making sure that people know what's really happening within the city, and
you know
that's something that other media have not been able to accomplish.
Love it. I love
just be a journalist for once.
I love that Kevin Klein is making a difference and speaking his mind, and he's doing what we're doing. You know, he's telling the truth, he's talking, he's making a difference, and he's educating the public. And that's what most important of all is education. To be educated on what's going wrong, because a lot of people have that glass mirror and they don't see anything behind it.
Absolutely. It's a one-way mirror. It's not two-way for some reason. You've got to be able to see on the other side and see back through again, because there's a lot going on both sides of that glass.
So also Rachel Punzam, I think her name is. I can't remember. But anyway, she's a Winnipeg lawyer.
Okay.
And she's going to be speaking at the event too. I will be the final speaker at the event. Also, a friend of mine is going to be presenting something on behalf of Kyriakis that he did for culinary school for people going. So there's going to be a X amount of money that they're going to give to students that are going through culinary school in honor of Kyriakis. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Hey, you didn't even mention the host yet.
And the host is going to be Brad Wilder.
All right, there we go. Thank you.
I mean, good-looking host. You want to come and see him, shake hands with him. Another good thing about this event is you guys could finally come and meet each other.
That's right.
You know, shake hands and talk to each other. And you talk to each other on the comment section, which is awesome. But come and talk to each other in person. So here's what I suggest.
It's only 12 hours from Tabor, Alberta.
Phone the Cork and Flame. Make a reservation. Come in early, have dinner, enjoy the good food that the Cork and Flame has to offer, some fellowship, and then at 7 o'clock, come out and join us. The parking lot's going to be closed off because that's where the event's going to be. There's a stage coming, sound system's coming, and all kinds of stuff. And we're going to have live entertainment between 6 and 7 o'clock. A band will be playing. And then after the speeches, they'll be doing that again. So it's going to be a really well put together event, and we're looking forward to having you there. Want to buy a cow together?
Are you making a bonfire?
Well, we could make a bonfire if somebody would be nice enough to bring. That'd be a great thing.
A barrel,
some
with
wood, and
some
then we could put a barrel and wood in the middle
fluid.
of the parking lot. People can warm up. We could do that in a couple spots, as long as nobody catches on fire. Anna Weeb says, "You're a great host, Brad."
Oh, well, thank you, Anna.
You know, Kevin's making an excuse now. Like, he's in Mexico, and he's not going to come because he's in Mexico. Well, I guess we could forgive you.
Yeah. He's getting a great tan, I'm sure, though.
You know, I saw Kevin last week. He sends me a picture of my brother, Peter.
Your brother? Yeah, he was partying down there, too.
He
in
was
Puerto
in Mexico.
Vallarta.
All of a sudden, to get a picture.
Puerto Viagra.
Can I start a bonfire? Yes, Al Bueller. Bring down the equipment and start a fire for us. I mean, it's our property.
Bring some of that Beaujolais firewood.
Yeah. And again, share this out tomorrow as many times as you can. So on Friday, we get the biggest turnout anyone's ever seen in the city of Winnipeg when it comes to gatherings. There's some communities in the city, I'm not going to mention which ones, when they have a gathering, thousands of people show up. And that's why they're becoming such a powerful community in Winnipeg, because numbers matter. Take that into perspective. Numbers matter. And if their community can come into Canada and take over our streets, our community can come together and make a difference for fighting the crime and justice system. Why not? It's a good cause. And it's a night out.
Sure is. You know what? I'm just saying, here's where
Mary
we're...
says, you'll probably need a permit, Mike. You know what? What are they going to do, arrest us and release us after? I mean...
You might notice what time it is here tonight.
9:46. Okay, let's do some questions.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you could just keep going.
No. Well, I think some... You know, I really been thinking about maybe...
People might not know that we've got a big event on Friday night.
I'd like to get people's opinion on this, but I've been really thinking of changing the show name from Ask the Funeral Director to maybe something, Ask Mike Wojciechowski or something, where we could talk about everything, not just funeral service.
No.
Yeah.
Why?
Because people say, well, it's Ask the Funeral Director. Why are you talking about everything else but funeral director stuff?
Well, tonight it's really important that we get the message out about what's coming up on Friday, number one. But number two, the funeral business is something that's important not only to,
but you can talk about
maintaining
everything and
success in your
everything.
career, but, just having that ability to communicate things that other people don't know about. And people are being, it's like you're the progressive conservatives and you've got the liberals over there and the other businesses that run funeral homes, and they've got prices that don't have any kind of standard or
See, Brad's getting to know the funeral
Yeah,
service
I
a little
am.
too well.
I am.
So somebody asked a question, where can you park? So I have a funeral home a block away on Kirkfield.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
There's
2 blocks.
parking for 300 cars there. So you're welcome to park there and walk over. It's a couple blocks.
There's side streets there,
And there's
St.
side
James you can
streets,
just
and there's parking
jump
across
out.
the street, and you'll find a place to park.
And there's going to be lots of people coming, so you don't have to worry. There'll be lots of people on the street that night walking around. It's at 7 o'clock, so it's not like it's later at night in St. James by any stretch. We know that things
Well,
get
this is-
sketchy late.
Everyone's saying, don't change the name, keep it the same. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do some. Oh, yeah, ask the
AFC
funeral director plus.
Plus.
Good. That's a good one, Kevin.
Okay, here we go. Let's go into this. Lisa says, my brother has been in the hospital for a month. He was stabbed numerous times while walking home from work. If he was to pass away, will anyone help cover his expenses, as he is now not working for the past month and may never go back to work? So what happens if he passes away?
So, Lisa, first of all, I just want to say sorry that happened to your brother. It's part of what we're talking about tonight. Victims of crime, and your brother was clearly a victim of crime. So if your brother was to pass away, I want to let you know that Victim Services. So if you're an innocent victim of a crime, if you were walking down the street and you got stabbed, but you weren't involved in selling drugs or making some kind of dirty deal, they will cover your funeral expenses, and they will pay for everything. So it's Victim Services. You probably want to reach out to Victim Services already. I'm surprised they haven't reached out to you, and put a claim in, because your brother deserves that. And he shouldn't get behind in his bills, and maybe start a GoFundMe page up to help your brother get on his feet. It's tough, because when you're in the hospital, you're down and outs, and you don't think about those things. And then next thing you know, you get kicked out of your apartment, and you start losing things. So reach out to Victim Services and see what they can do for you. But if you did die, they will cover the funeral expenses if he was an innocent victim of a crime.
All right, so Mike, if somebody dies in a motor vehicle accident, like say they're hit by a car or hit by another vehicle while driving drunk or high, that high hit and run sort of scenario, does MPI have a coverage for death involved with a vehicle? Teresa wants to know.
Teresa, that's a good question. So yes, MPI does cover people that are in a motor vehicle and get into an accident and die in a motor vehicle, or get injured in a motor vehicle, or even if you're hit by a motor vehicle, MPI does have coverage for a person that dies that's involved in any kind of a motor vehicle accident, whether you're hit, whether you're a passenger in a vehicle. So they also have some circumstances behind themselves too. Not that I'm an MPI fan by far, but if you're drunk when you're driving, if you're high when you're driving, you're probably not going to get covered. So I've stood up for a lot of families and helped them make a difference when it comes to MPI turning down claims because they feel, the situation wasn't fair. And I'm not going to share a story because family will know who it is. But there's been times that NPI will challenge you. But yes, to go straightforward to answering the question, if you're hit by a vehicle, if you're in a motor vehicle accident, if anything to do with being hit by a car, you're covered, and that's also for death too. MPI is Manitoba Public Insurance. That's the only place that you could get insurance for your vehicle in Manitoba. Yes, I know. How fair is that?
It's a government product, right?
Another
It's
government
crazy.
product when they say a business is not supposed to have
Manitoba Hydro, Manitoba Telephones, Manitoba Public Insurance.
But a business isn't supposed to have a monopoly.
Exactly.
And what does the government do? They give these people a monopoly.
Yeah.
And they do what they want
They
to do.
give themselves a monopoly, the government.
That's right. If you're not happy with MPI, too bad.
Yeah, you
you can't insure your vehicle if you get a ticket. MPI puts a lien on your license, and you got to go to an accredited one place that collects fines for MPI.
Yeah,
it is such a joke how the Manitoba Public Insurance works. It's a monopoly. It's wrong.
Well,
it shouldn't happen. Manitoba Hydro, Waterworks, all that stuff that's happening in Manitoba.
Why haven't people asked this question? Maybe they have. Maybe it just doesn't get discussed enough. But why so much government interference here in Manitoba compared to other provinces? Alberta's free will, man. They don't. Oh, by the way, we haven't even mentioned the Manitoba Liquor Control Commission, who is in charge of all the booze in the province.
No kidding. Well, they're trying to make that private now, but you're right.
That would be good, but they've been trying to do that. I almost said my age, but that being said, this has been not just discussed now, but when I was a kid, this was being discussed.
And you know what? There's no more.
It still hasn't happened.
There's no more 7-Elevens. There's only a few left because they all closed down.
Where are they going to sell liquor on the
robbed.
street corner?
Where are they
They're not. They're not.
Man, MPI. I just think it's wrong that they have a monopoly, and I think that any company that has a monopoly, like look at funeral service. Can you imagine if I had a monopoly in funeral service?
If you were the only guy doing
I could
funerals?
do what I want. You can't do anything about it. People die. Yeah, it's $20,000 for a funeral. Sorry, you got to pay it because there's nothing else that you can do about it other than use my services. How wrong is that? Maybe. There's thinking. But yeah, I mean, there's just things that make you go,
We're going to start offers on all the other funeral homes in town by the end of the day tomorrow. Be that evil.
And Larry says it's supposed to be single digits for Friday. Kyriakis, who's up there looking down on us, is probably going, I'm going to make this
Nice
be a
and
good
warm.
day for you.
Nice
and
and
warm day
warm.
where a lot of people can turn out, and it could be a celebration of life. Meanwhile, a great fight.
All right, times are running out here, Mike. Why do people always have a frown on their face instead of a smirk or a smile when deceased in a casket?
So I'm going to tell you, when we put a person in a casket, and if you've been to one of our funeral homes and you saw what we do with people's loved ones, we always have a little bit of a smirk on their face, like, you don't want this. I'm making funny faces here, but it's always good to try to make a person look as natural as possible. And you never see somebody sitting here like Brad or myself doing this.
Well, I do all
the time. And when you see people in caskets, and it's terrible. As a matter of fact, I remember telling a funeral director that worked at the funeral home. He was an embalmer. I wasn't yet. And he says, well, that's just the way I do it. Well, guess what? You're going to have to find another job because it's not the way I want it done. I want a person to have a nice little smirk and a little kind of a smile on their face so the family has that final goodbye that they remember forever. Because, when you see somebody in a casket, you never forget that.
Oh, wink.
Ever. Imagine that, seeing somebody with a wink and a smile. Hey, how you doing?
Big fat stogie sticking out.
Oh, man. I did that already. I put somebody in a casket that had a stogie in her mouth.
Yeah?
It was lit, but...
Okay, I'm going to a celebration of life this weekend for my friend's dad who passed away. In the obituary, it says, in lieu of flowers, memorials preferred to. Does this mean when I give them a sympathy card, it shouldn't include cash for the family? Violet wants to know.
Violet, that's actually exactly right. So when families say, in lieu of flowers, donations to a charity of one's choice, to cancer care, to a church, to the Humane Society.
Sorry, guys. My microphone was down again. I'm sorry. My bad. I got it.
Brad keeps turning off.
I had to cough, so I had to leave. So, okay, I'm back.
Anyways, so that, I think I answered the question. Basically,
Yeah, it was.
so you don't put cash in an envelope. Families will ask you in lieu of flowers, meaning don't send flowers. That means you just, in lieu of flowers, make a donation to a charity of your choice. And when you make a donation, hey, Carrie. Hi, guys. So that donation, the person you make a donation to actually sends a note to the family saying that you've made a donation, and now the family knows you made a donation. So
Yeah, that's right.
making donations is good. A lot of people hate when they put in lieu of flowers, and the family walks into the chapel and they see tons of flowers. Hey, listen, don't be mad at Brad. It was his birthday yesterday. He has he has a reason to forget, and he's getting older.
I'm old.
And as you get older, you start to forget things, and it clearly Brad is forgetting things today.
Dan, it's okay. It's back on again. I know you typed that about 5 minutes ago. These messages just come in late. It's okay.
Man.
Okay, so let's go here. We got a couple more minutes here, and then we're out of here. But Rod says, do funeral directors normally assist in the lowering of the casket into the vault and removing the equipment that holds the casket?
So here's a situation a lot of people don't know of. When we pull into a cemetery, the funeral director's job's actually done. So cemetery stuff is done by the cemetery. So that means they set up the lowering device, they lower the casket, they're supposed to do
They
all
set
that
up all
kind
that
of stuff.
fake green
all the
grass.
greens, the fake green grass that you're standing on, all that stuff happens on the cemetery's part.
Yeah.
So unless we're out of town, and Brad and I did a funeral together where they were supposed to set up a lowering device, and guess what? They never did. So then we had to get people to bring straps from their cars.
Where's the lowering device? We don't have one of
Where's the
those.
lowering device?
We're in the country. They don't have that yet. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what do you mean yet? It's 2025.
And then we actually
How do you do
got,
it? Well, we lower it in with ropes.
Somebody brought tow ropes. So we had 3 tow ropes, brand new ones, and we lowered the casket into the ground with tow ropes. It worked perfectly, better than the lowering device, actually. Probably scared the crap out of the people that were doing it, thinking,
This could slip
let's
at any
not screw
moment.
up.
Yeah, this could slip at any moment. That's not
So yeah,
something
that's
we want to have
the
happen.
cemetery's responsibility. Next question.
All right. So, hi everyone. Out of curiosity, when a funeral director recommends that the family not see their loved one due to a violent accident, severe trauma, etc., and the family insists, do you let them? And how does that situation work? Lily wants to know.
So Lily, that's a good question. So a lot of people that come into the funeral home, we always say to them, let's just say somebody was in a motor vehicle accident, a fire or drowning, whatever the case may be. I always say to a family member, let us get your loved one in our care, and then we'll tell you what we can do. And our goal as funeral directors is to allow you to do a final viewing, to allow you to have closure, to move on and to heal. But sometimes the situation is so bad that we say to a family, my professional opinion as a funeral director would be that you do not see your loved one and that you remember them the way they were. And sometimes that's the best, is to have that great memory in your mind of your loved one laughing and having a good time and things you did together that you remember, not them in a casket looking terrible. And I do reconstructive surgery a lot, and I can make a person look really good even when they're in a terrible situation. But sometimes it's just out of my control, and I have to say, no, unfortunately, it has to be a closed casket.
I'm really dead. Okay, my father has life insurance policy, and he has named me and my little brother as the beneficiary, it says. However, he's technically still married to his first wife, estranged and never divorced, and she would not be okay if he passed. I'm assuming he would have to have, the will to make sure that she didn't get anything. And second, he wants
Let's
to...
answer first.
Okay,
first
go the first one.
So when you have an insurance policy, this is really important. So an insurance policy has a beneficiary on it.
Right.
So it doesn't go through the will. The ex-wife has, or the current wife or anybody doesn't have access to that insurance policy. So every insurance policy has a beneficiary. So those beneficiaries on that insurance policy will get that money. That's just the way an insurance policy is. Now, when we go to the second question, which is the will, right? If you have a will, the will has an executor, a power of attorney, and a directive to doctors. And that's what you follow if you have a will. That's why everyone should have a will. Anyways, you can finish off that question.
So now the third question then, he wants to be buried in Mexico where his parents are buried. Would we have to contact a funeral home in Mexico? How does that work? Ella wants to know.
So we do a lot of ship outs to countries all around the world. Ship outs meaning taking your loved one to the airport, putting them on a plane, doing all the paperwork and sending them to wherever you want them buried. So that's our part. We would contact the funeral home on the other end because you have to have that in the paperwork. And then the funeral home on the other end would take care of the burial on that side. We would contact them for you. We would talk to them for you. And we go back and forth until your loved one is in their care. So that's something that's done from the funeral home on the other end. Just like we get bodies that come in here from all around the world, and we take care of whatever happens on this end.
It's never a done day, kind of a done deal. There's like, you've got to take care of these people until they actually make it to the destination or make it to the grave.
We'll be sending someone to Greece probably next week sometime.
And
after
that's
being in our
taken a
care,
while.
after being in our care for 4 months because of bureaucracy at its best. Like, wow. And it'll be a lot of letters that I'll be writing to fix this problem too. See, sometimes you encounter problems as a funeral director and you want to fix them so other families don't have to go through with them. So I guess we're at 10 o'clock, which I guess means this show is over. Sorry for letting it all out tonight, but I got so much built up inside of me. I lost my little brother. We're hurting. It's going on a year. I want to help make change. I want to fight back against crime and the justice system.
That's right.
I want to honor my brother's life all in one day. It's been a year, a long time, and it doesn't seem like a year. It seems like I lost my brother yesterday. And I don't want you to lose your brother. I said it last year. I'm going to say it tonight before I leave the show. Love each other, care for each other, kiss your family members, always say goodbye and never leave anybody on bad terms. Today's a gift and tomorrow's never promised. You never know if you're going to see that loved one again. And those things that you say to them before they leave, you'll never forget. Take care of yourselves and each other. God bless you and your families. Please share the show tonight. It's an important show. It needs to get out so people can hear, so people can know.
Now let's make it up past 50 and 100. Let's get up to 150 to 200.
Do me one favor tonight, in my brother's memory. Share this show.
A few times.
Share this poster a few times. You can make a difference, and it starts by you pushing a button. Good night. Take care of yourselves. Brad, love you, buddy.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you on Friday.
Sorry for not saying happy birthday to you. I feel so bad. Jeez.
We'll see you on Friday, Mike. It'll all be fine, buddy.
Happy birthday, Brad.
Good night, everybody.